wanted to ask you, Man United this weekend, we play Newcastle. How do you see that game going? Obviously, look, gentlemen, we're going to be talking about the title race soon. We're going to talk City versus Tottenham as well. We're touching on Arsenal and Liverpool in the title race. But we just want to touch on Man United for a minute. How do you see this weekend going tomorrow evening going against Newcastle?
Oh, my God. First of all, last week was straight facts. I said it's going to be 3 L's. You beat Everton. Fair enough. Galatasaray, you absolutely bottled it. 3-1. That game right there epitomizes everything wrong with Manchester United. Individual mistake by Onana. Ten Hag, absolutely idiotic substitution that cost the game, taking Amrabat off for me. And it's just it's a thing of beauty. St. James's Park is a difficult place to go for any club. Manchester City lost there, except if you're Liverpool, because we just always beat Newcastle. But other than that, they've literally beaten everyone at St. James's Park. So it's probably, I'd say, probably the fourth toughest stadium to go to. I'd say Etihad is number 1. I'd say Anfield is number 2. And by the way, speaking of Etihad, Manchester City fans have been salty as fuck about the Trent thing. Hold that on your head top. Now, Emirates is 3rd, and I'd say 4th is St. James's Park. That for me is a difficult place to go. And for me, the fact that Manchester United are going away after the disappointing draw to Galatasaray that has them 4th in their Champions League group, I think gives you negative momentum, if anything, because Newcastle are gonna want to bounce back after they got robbed away at PSG. And this is the thing now. Like, look, usually we praise European referees. All I want is the same energy. I've always been someone who just says, just show me same energy. If the fuck's his name? If the Livramento one is a handball, then the McTominay one is an even worse handball. So this is the problem. Just keep same energy. I think Newcastle got robbed personally.
Oh, Newcastle was definitely robbed, 100%.
Because it hit his stomach and then it hit his arm, which is not a penalty. But this is where you go away to PSG, you go away to Bayern, you go away to these clubs. You get that tax. To be honest with you. But for me, Newcastle got robbed. And like the game for Galatasaray, Manchester United, like, it was unfortunate, but it could have been a lot more unfortunate. Like, it really could have been 4-3, 5-3. But the one thing I will say, I don't even think Galatasaray played well. I really don't even think Galatasaray played well, which is the mad part.
Mate, they didn't. In a nutshell, with that game, looking back, it's a hostile environment to go to, but we started the game amazingly. We were 2-0 up with 2 great goals, playing good football. We were then in control. And yes, they were attacking us and having sort of shots, but they weren't even dangerous. They then scored a free kick, which was a ridiculous ball by the goalkeeper and a mistake. It was then a little bit bitty for the rest of the first half, but from the start of the second half onwards, until we went 3-1 up, we dominated. We then dominated for the next 7 or 8 minutes until another nothing free kick was stupidly let in by the goalkeeper, or in fact punched into his own net.
That second goal was bad by Onana.
It was awful. And then they scored what was a very good goal. They scored a very good goal because their towels were up. And then it became a basketball match, and we lacked clinical edge towards the end of the game. We made one big mistake in that match, and it was taking off Amrabat for Kobe. Not Kobe coming on. Kobe coming on was brilliant. But it should have been McTominay that came off, and him and McTominay should have shielded that back line at 3-1, and I think we would have seen that game out. Maybe another mistake would have happened
together. You mean Amrabat and Mainu together, right?
Yeah, together it should have been what we did, and that's then. By the way, for the Newcastle game, that's who needs to start. It needs to be Kobe and Amrabat in that game. Otherwise, we are getting run through. We are getting run through like diarrhea. It's going to go through like diarrhea, bruv. Through you.
Joelinton and Bruno Guimaraes are the 2 ones you want to go to war with. And Miley. Those 3 midfielders right there, including Miley, the youngster, to be fair, who's been impressive last 2 games. These are 3 midfielders you look at and you're like, I'm about to go to war with these 3 right here. Like, I'd go to war with Joelinton. I'd go to war with Bruno Guimaraes. I'd go to war with these players. I ain't trying to go to war with McTominay, Bruno, whoever the hell. So, for me, I completely agree with you. I think that substitution changed the game negatively. Because it should have been Amrabat and Mainu together. Because you were 3-1 up. Just keep the ball, keep possession, play defensive, and win the game. And you exit that stadium with 3 points, and you're in a much better position headed into the last game. Now, essentially, if Copenhagen beat Galatasaray, it's over for you. And if Galatasaray beat Copenhagen, it's over for you. So you have to wait on a draw in that game, and you have to beat Bayern Munich as well, which is also a tough ask to begin with. So that's the problem.
No, it's very, very true indeed. And I think on top of that as well, it puts more pressure now on the Newcastle game because we're on the back of another poor result. And I genuinely mean this. We have got little to no chance of beating Newcastle this weekend. And I know that the top Reds out there in Man United, you've got to back your team. I back my team as in I want them to win. But saying my team is going to win is not backing my football club. It's me lying to myself. Even if we're 2-0 up in the first 20 minutes, I still won't have confidence we'll win. Because we have the ability to collapse and fall apart. Both teams have got major injuries. Both teams have got players missing that are important. But it's at St. James's Park. They get up for this game every year. For us to win, it's going to have to be one of the best performances we've had under Erik ten Hag. It's going to have to be a great performance for us to beat them for 90 minutes. I also think starting Onana again is a big mistake. I would sell him. In January, he had such an awful start. I was fuming with him, and I thought,
you'd sell Onana?
I'd sell him. Done. Done.
Man. How come?
Too many mistakes. This isn't. You could do a compilation of the mistakes that Alisson's made over the past 5-6 years. There'll be less in it than the first 3 months of this man at Man United. So
you know one thing I will say in defense of Onana. Onana's been horrible. Let's just say it as it is. Okay, but one thing I'd say in his defense, and this is where I watched the match reaction, and Staffy was making this point, and I actually thought about it, and I was like, he's actually saying the truth here. If you want to play possession style ball playing football and you get Onana, you get the best out of Onana. But if you want Onana to become a shot stopper, should have just kept De Gea then. That's the thing. So that's the point
I do agree. I do agree with that. But this isn't someone who the goals that he's let in, I wouldn't expect. If we promoted today the 16-year-old goalkeeper in the under 18s, I wouldn't expect him to make the mistakes on the amount of weak shots that have gone in is unbelievable. It's ridiculous. And my personal feeling is he will not recover at Man United. We will not see the goalkeeper that Inter Milan had. We won't have the goalkeeper that Ajax had for the vast majority. I think mentally he's already gone. And now the manager has come out and said one more mistake and he's dropped. Well, now you know that's in his head. He's going to make another mistake, and he'll probably make it this weekend.
Has he actually said that publicly?
Well, it's come out via the media, but we know Man United leaked this news like we leaked like a broken fridge. I really would rave. No, I have to hold my hand up.
Ten Hag's man management is just awful. I'll be honest with you. That's just awful.
I just think it's one of these things for me. Like when he came in, I thought he's a good enough shot stopper for the Premier League. I looked at his distribution and was like, he's really going to improve us. We'll be more pressure resistant. We'll get the ball into the danger areas more. Not only has his shot stopping been amateur, his distribution's been bang average. And there's something, and I get what Staffy said. We're not playing. We don't have the players to playing out from the back, but he don't find the men anyway. So I understand it if he was finding his target and they always miscontrolling it. But he ain't finding his target. And 3 goals we've conceded this season have come from bad passes out the back from him, not from his teammates having bad control. So for me, look, I was buzzing about it. He's a goalkeeper I rated massively. You know, just like Chelsea fans when they signed Shevchenko as an example. And I'm sure you can all think about this at your clubs. We've all signed players where we've gone, this man's going to kill it. And for one reason or another, he hasn't done it. And for me, when I look at a goalkeeper, that's a position that you have to have so much confidence in. This isn't a man who's also 20 years old and can get better. This is the man in his pomp. I think he'll just continue to make these mistakes. Therefore, he won't be sold. I know the club won't sell him, but I would in January.
Yes.
I'd make an absolute
my point, all you need to do, just call Di Marzio. Call Di Marzio, set up an interview, the same one Lukaku had. You know, have Onana call Lautaro Lauti in the interview, and Inter Milan will come back for him. Inter Milan are by far the biggest thieves in world football. They're out here selling everyone dreams. You know who's the next dream they're going to sell? I'm telling you guys right now, quickly. I know no one here gives a fuck about Serie A, and fair enough. Neither do I, to be honest with you. But the next dream they're going to sell is Dumfries. Dumfries is the next dream. I'm telling you right now, he's going to come to a Premier League club, either yours or Chelsea, and he's going to be fucking shit. Like, he's going to be shit. That's the next dream they're going to sell. With Onana, here's the thing. you could argue low key, he's actually the main factor why Manchester United got eliminated from Champions League to begin with. Because he's cost you goals in every single game. It's not like once or twice, it's every single game. And Copenhagen, he saved the penalty towards the end, fair enough. You could say he won you 3 points there, but doesn't make up for all the other points dropped in all the other games. And for me, the one thing I will say as well about this whole Onana situation, I told you in the summer, by the way, I don't think Onana and Mount work together. Been proven right, because it just shows that the way that you're playing football is not yet defined. And this is where, for me, the ultimate problem goes down. And this is where me and you have agreed. Because now, last season has just become pointless. Everything you did last season has been thrown down the drain.
I totally agree with that, because it just, the evolution and the approach we've gone with hasn't worked. That's because we have no real plan. That's because most managers of football clubs are not really managers. They're head coaches, and they should be there coaching the way the club want them to, but we let our managers at Man United buy who they want, and there's no one to really stop it, and it's all just a mess.
But isn't that what you guys wanted, to be fair? To play devil's advocate? Didn't you guys want managers to have more power?
No. See, this is the misconception. We want our managers backed, and this is where it becomes, when you go, I'm against the Glazers, people go, but you spent money. The manager got the players he wanted. People go back and look at multiple videos of mine from over the years. I don't want my manager having complete control. No one's going to be the new Fergie. There can be a football manager, which Fergie's job basically was sporting director and head coach rolled into one. That don't exist anymore. I'm telling you now, we know it with your manager. Look at the players Klopp wanted to sign versus the players that the club signed. You could have been in a very different situation if Klopp was given full control.
100%.
The manager needs to be listened to. The manager needs to have a large amount of power at a football club. But when it comes to buying players, everybody has to be on the same wavelength. Our recruitment team, our board, and our manager, all three fight for different types of players to come into a team. Now, sometimes the manager will get some right, sometimes he'll get some wrong, but there needs to be one true vision and then a coach that coaches that. Now, the coach should have the power to say, I'm not playing this guy because he's been bad in training or he's been performing badly, but they shouldn't have control over your transfers, especially not in the first few years that they are there. And
would you agree Ten Hag has had the most power since Fergie?
No.
Out of all the other managers?
No. What has happened since...
Who had more power?
LVG, Jose, and Ollie all had as much power as him in terms of getting the players they wanted. However, what happens, and Ten Hag just hasn't been here long enough yet, is you get to a stage where they remove that power. So Jose, year one, power. First year, second year, power. Towards the end of his second year, about 19, 20 months into the job, they started removing it. By the summer, his third summer, so two years in, they weren't letting him get what he wanted anymore. This will eventually happen if the Glazers stay in charge of the football operation to Ten Hag. Eventually, they'll say, no more players, mate. And then they give you too much in the beginning without any clear direction of the club. And then when it ain't working, they pull it all away. It's one extreme to the other. It's absolutely, and I've been calling it out for 7 years now. It's an horrendous way to run a football club. But look, we'll see how it goes. What's your score prediction for Man United Newcastle?
Fucking hell. I'm going to give you a goal because of Newcastle's injuries. I'm going to say 3-1 Newcastle. I think Newcastle win this game. I think Spurs have a bigger chance of getting something away at City than you do at Newcastle. That's how bad I think you are.